So Daddy D-Rock has this fucked up story. For the sake of humility, I've decided to take a page from Jamie's book and detail the time that I once shat myself in a grocery store as an adult. This is not your standard tale of mistaking a shit for a fart. Unfortunately, it's far more sinister and complex than that. This happened several years ago when it was in my early 20s. I was driving back home from work one evening around 8, when I started to feel the rumbling in my stomach. It started off as being mildly uncomfortable, but it slowly began to get worse and worse.
I'll do an introduction here. As we all know, when you have that actual rumbling feeling, it's not shit. That's fucking diarrhea. That's always the fart shit explosion just bubbling away.
Building.
And if you don't go quickly, from my own experience, that shit just fucking launches out your ass.
Well, yeah.
You've got to fucking... If you feel that rumble... Because I was sitting there, one day playing like Apex or, Cyberpunk or whatever, and I felt the rumbling and I was like, oh, damn, that's a bit rumbly. So I got up out of my shed, went to the house, got into the bathroom, instantly right there, fucking diarrhea launched. The toilet was covered in shit at the moment I sat down.
Fucking hell.
But I'm just saying, if you get the rumbles, seek toilet immediately.
Eventually it reached a point when I was racing to get home because I knew a mud butt explosion was inbound. Time seemed to slow down, and a short drive home soon felt like it was taking an eternity. Before I knew it, I was on the verge of full explosion. There was no containing it. At this point, I realized there was no way I'd be able to make it home in time without shitting myself. I had to find the nearest bathroom as quickly as humanly possible. I abruptly pulled into a nearby grocery store, packed my car, and headed inside. I immediately made a beeline for the nearest bathroom. Once I got into the men's room, I headed towards the stall. It was unoccupied, yet had been locked from the inside, making it impossible to open the door. So I tried the next stall, but it was the same thing. Some asshole had locked them both from the inside. I was on the verge of bursting at any moment, so I began to panic. I knew I'd have to take drastic measures. I didn't want to use the women's room and potentially cause a scene. So I decided that I would have to just shimmy under the opening in the stall door. This required me to get down on the bathroom floor, lay on my back, and force myself under the opening. Needless to say, it was a pretty unpleasant experience. But unfortunately, what happened next was even more unpleasant. The squeeze was pretty tight, and I had to be pretty forceful to get myself underneath the door. The simultaneous action of contorting my body in such a way, combined with the force of the stall door squeezing my stomach, caused me to instantly and uncontrollably unload in my pants. This was not a minor explosion either. It was a full-on Mount Vesuvius level of shit spewing out my asshole into the entirety of my underwear and pants. The horrible realization slowly set in. I had shit myself, and now found myself in a dire predicament. I decided to clean myself off as best as I could before going back out into the store. I looked down to examine the damage, and I saw a massive shit explosion stain covering the entirety of the inside of my underwear and pants. This was exacerbated by the fact that I was wearing khaki pants at the time. I knew that it would be borderline impossible to fully cover up the aftermath. Nevertheless, I spent a few minutes using what toilet paper I could to wipe up the shit from the underwear and pants. I must have used almost an entire roll. I soon realized that I would have to abandon the underwear altogether. There was absolutely no salvaging them, so I tossed the shit-covered undies into a nearby trash can. I knew I was now in an even more precarious spot, because the door leading into the bathroom didn't have a lock. Somebody could walk in at any moment and see me, dick out, brandishing a shit-stained pair of khaki pants. So I dragged the trash can across the floor and used it to barricade the door as best I could. However, I knew it wouldn't hold, so I would have to act quickly. I ran to the nearby sink and desperately began using soap and water in an attempt to remove the shit stain from my khaki pants. All the while, I was praying that nobody tried to come into the bathroom while I was doing all of this. This was probably the tensest few moments of my entire life. In all, I probably spent at least 15 minutes trying to clean the pants, but to little avail. Fortunately, nobody came in during this whole time. After doing what I could, I looked at myself in the mirror. The shit stain was still abundantly obvious on the back of my pants. The shit had completely bled through. There was a good number of people in the store at this time, so if I walked out in my in my current state, I'd be extremely humiliated. I had to think fast. After some experimentation, I managed to turn the pants around backwards and pull them up as high as humanly possible. This way I could hopefully cover up the shit stain with my shirt and nobody would notice.
Oh, wait, that means he put the shit stain by his cock.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Where was I? Yeah. Notice. Even after doing this, you could still see the shit stain pretty easily. However, I realized if I took my shirt and held it down with my hands as I walked, I could mostly cover it up to where it wouldn't be as noticeable. Under the circumstances, it was the best I could do. The clock was ticking. I knew that I would soon have to make a break for it and get out of the store as quickly as humanly possible. I mentally prepared myself and decided to just go for it. I came out the bathroom holding my shirt down as much as I possibly could. I began walking towards the store's exit. I probably looked stupid as hell, but it was better than exposing my shit-covered pants to everyone in the store. I did my best to not arouse suspicion as I walked across the store. My goal was to be discreet, yet move as quickly as I possibly could without drawing attention to myself. The rush of adrenaline... Wait, where was it? It just moved around. Yeah, the rush of adrenaline and nervous energy was overwhelming. I was incredibly anxious that somebody would somehow notice the giant stain on the front of my pants, even though the spot was mostly covered up by my shirt at this point. It was the longest walk of my entire life. Somehow I made it to the exit unmolested. Miraculously, no one seemed to notice the stain of shame I was hiding beneath my shirt. I had made it. I was home free. To make the rest of the story short, I sprinted back to my car and drove home, filled with the feeling of utter shame and defeat. My car smelled like actual shit for nearly a whole day afterwards. Later on that night, I tried to wash the khaki pants, but they were completely ruined. I had to throw them out. But at least I survived to tell the tale, and I'm still here today. I didn't tell any of my friends about this ordeal until many years later. I was pretty embarrassed about it at the time, but now I think it's pretty funny. It just goes to show that shitting your pants as an adult can happen to anybody, even you. So to anyone who has endured similar hardships, I want you to know that you're not alone. Godspeed, gentlemen. Long live Jar.
Okay, so a few questions pop up. Was there a disabled toilet? Because that is instantly if you need a shit and the males or females is busy, you just got to go into the disabled. I don't think there's any like stigma against doing that. If you need a shit, you need to shit. Secondly, why did you try to squeeze yourself under when you could have climbed over? Because, yeah, you might have to pull yourself up and then you might have a shit fire explosion either way in the pull-up.
Yeah, I think he was fucked, to be honest.
You definitely was fucked.
No,
but I think less pressure on the stomach might not cause you to shit yourself.
I wouldn't even risk. I'd shit in my car.
He could have... a nasty option he could have taken is... he could have pushed that bin in front of the door and actually just done a shit on the floor.
And surprise, surprise, men do that, as we've experienced in Cabot Circus.
Yeah.
But here's another thing. Do it into the sink or the urinal.
Yeah, shit in the urinal. I have been to a toilet where someone has just shit in the urinal.
Really?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about dignity, so squatting on the floor and shitting on the floor, or leaning over and into the urinal. Like, either way, it's gross either way, but...
I feel like it's grosser to shit in the urinal.
Then what?
But at least with the
shitting just straight on the floor.
But at least with the sink, you can
easier
wash
to
your own
clean.
ass.
No, because, like, your shit, like, urinals are not designed for fucking shit to, like, flow down them. It would block the whole thing and require more cleaning.
Yeah, but we're talking about the...
Nah,
Oh,
you just mash it up. You just...
Nah.
No, but I've got another question. Did this guy go into with just a shirt and trousers? Because if he was wearing a hoodie or fleece, you could just wrap that around the shit stain
Yeah.
and acted normal.
Might
Or,
be some
honestly,
of it, you don't know.
What would have probably been better, instead of just take the shirt off and wrap it around? Because then you can just beeline it out, but nobody's going to think it's weird outside of the shirtless man in a shopping centre.
They'll be more occupied on the shirtless nature.
Yeah, then
instead
your
of the shit.
shit's covered under your...
Yeah. Crazy story.
Yeah,
Very
no.
good story.
Dramatic.
So when you...
I do appreciate now, and this story reinforces it, that, like he said, anyone can shit themselves. Anyone.
Mm-hmm.